right, guys, welcome to our Tuesday 1 o'clock Trifecta Nutrition Talk with Janice Perry and Adrian Ortiz and myself, Coach Matt G, which I've been signing off on my emails with. Janice, I had a request to go back. Remember when people used to call me G? Do you remember that? So I've had a request to start signaturing my emails with G. That I think I'm going to go back to that given our new business model that we'll be going into. I think I need a new identity. And just G.
Well,
that's it.
Yeah, and people just call you that have been older members.
I know.
Like I don't think I've ever heard Steve M call you anything but G.
Yeah, and how about Mike K? Never calls me anything but G.
G, yeah. Just G.
I know. So I think I'm gonna. Yeah, Adrian's like, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah, I think you could commit to it if you had a big G tattooed on your back.
I think that's what I got to do. I think that's what I have to do. Janice, do I have to do that? I think so. All right. So let me introduce our special guest today. So I'll give you his name first. His name is Josh Kauder, and he's from a company called Nutridyn, and he's a functional medicine consultant with them. And we'll get more on his company in a sec. I just want to tell you how he ended up on our show. So everyone that's listening knows for years, we've only affiliated ourselves with the best of the best as far as nutritional supplementation for years. But the thing is, what I felt like is we were limited in the variety of supplements that we could provide people. And it was hard for me to like really wrap my head around a brand because like most of you, I get confused when there's like, you know, you can get BCAAs all over the place. You can get like vitamin C everywhere. You can get greens. And it's like, well, where am I going to find this one-stop shop that kind of will provide a medical grade almost of supplementation that we can really get behind? And our landlord, Dr. Dane Donahue, which owns a couple franchises of, he's the owner and the founder of 8 Weeks to Wellness. He had given me a call one random night at 9 o'clock at night. And Dr. Dane is the type of person that will call me just to talk. He goes, I just need some Matt. I need to hear Matt. So just talk to me, Matt. And we'll talk. And I always tell Dane, why don't we record every conversation? You call me, I'm just going to hit record because we go over a lot of cool stuff. And he's a trusted friend of mine, trusted business person too. And he was talking about, you know, I was running out of greens. And he said, well, why don't you get some of the stuff that I have up front? And I tried it and I said, this is great. And the first thing I thought about was my kids. I was like, would they drink this? Yes. Okay, I'm sold. And not only that, he then went into deeper detail, and Josh is going to tell us a little more about his company, but he said, well, you know, they only work with, you know, practitioners, medical, you know, nutritionists, chiropractors, physical therapists. And I loved that idea because that is the quality. I mean, we're basically that quality in the strength and conditioning field. And I'm speaking in generalizations for myself, Janice, and Adrian. I believe that we're at that level for coaching and even in our nutrition coaching. And I want to make sure that when we're suggesting any kind of supplementation, number one, it's a quality product. Number two, if we don't know the answer, we have someone that we can call and get the answers that we're needing to make a better prescription. And you know that's why we invited Josh on our call today, because as you guys know, we have linked up with Nutridyn, and we've in every single email you get at the bottom of the screen is the link to our CrossFit Newtown online supplement store. And all those supplements are provided by Josh's company. So Josh, I don't know if I did a good job introducing you, but what I want you to tell us is, when I talked to you, you mentioned Charles Poliquin's name a lot. I want you to give us the history of kind of Nutridyn, how you came into it, your role with Nutridyn, and we'll just roll from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks. Thank you for having me. And again, as Matt had mentioned, Joshua Kauder. I'm the vice president at Nutridyn, family business, started in 1973. I'm part of the second generation of the family. And again, just I kind of go into a little bit about us. And I also think it would be very important at some point here also talk about how we go about making a formula, how we go about testing each formula for quality. I think that's going to be super important for all of your customers and those that you work with. But again, Nutridyn started in 1973. Dave and Greg Peterson brothers started it. Kind of originally got interested in nutrition in their mom's garage, you know, started kind of helping her sort through and box up supplements. And then they went off and started their own business out of college and focused on twofold. Half of the business was on equipment, x-ray machines and such, and the other part was supplements. At the time, didn't create our own supplements, but carried just one or two lines. You got to remember, in the early 70s, there really wasn't much for nutrition supplements in particular. And so started that, and Greg Pierce in particular recognizes, man, there's a huge quality issue here. And so that became kind of their focus, to say, all right, let's make the highest quality supplements based on science that we can. So that's where it started. So again, 1973, so for 47 years. And really at the foundation of nutrition in the industry, that, especially the US and even elsewhere to a degree, we're kind of at that foundation. Early on, it was our focus just to work with healthcare practitioners, including personal trainers. And I wanted to focus on those ones that knew how to implement nutrition. But the other part of it was the supplements that we would be creating were going to be at therapeutic levels. Right, so really going to kind of move the needle on one's health. And especially when you're seeing a practitioner and somebody has significant deficiencies, you need something with significant power behind it to actually kind of make some changes. And so we're fully committed to that model and have been ever since, again, since 1973. And so Nutridyn, we sell worldwide, all over the place, wherever it is. Shipments going Israel to South Africa to, Southeast Asia, wherever it might be. Our supplements are sold to practitioners in those areas. So that's kind of the nitty gritty. And as I mentioned, it's a family business, right? So there's 5 or 6 of us on the executive team, and everyone's pretty much related. My cousin's the head of IT, got my brother's over here, got another cousin over there, and a whole bunch of other people, sure, that are also part of that. But we just are very committed to quality. That is at the core of our belief structure. We're not greedy by any means, so we're going to try to pass on savings when we can, but we'll never compromise on quality. And again, huge on education. So we'll do, as you kind of mentioned a little bit, when you have supplements, there's so much out there, and you fire up the internet, you look at whatever, some TV show, and there's just a lot of content. And so sometimes trying to figure out what to do with it is important. So we do a lot of education for our practitioners as well.
Yeah, it's great. I actually get I get an email almost every other day from you guys about stuff you're doing, webinars and things like that. And I think it's fantastic, because there's so much out there, even as an exercise professional, and I know I probably speak for Janice and Adrian, there's so much information, even we sometimes like second guess, and we're like, wait, I just heard this, now I'm hearing it. And it's our job as nutrition coaches and strength and conditioning professionals to kind of take all the information and filter it through to our clients. So it's always nice to have somewhere to go that we can get the very best information. And, I think what we first want to start talking about is a couple products in general, and a couple products specific to you guys. Is right now, everyone's concerned with their immunity, and it's a good thing that everyone's concerned with it, because I think we should have always been concerned with this, and it should have been our number one line of defense for a very long time. And it's sad to say that it wasn't. And even when the 3 of us are doing any consults, I mean, the first thing we try to get people to really focus on is getting in their micronutrients and making sure they're efficient, we're getting sufficient amounts. And the one product that everyone is taking now is some type of greens. So I was hoping we could start out by you talking a little bit about what you guys provide, what's in it, maybe what's different than the other greens products out there. And the one difference that I notice is there's so many flavors, and I absolutely love that part. So I was hoping you can touch on your product a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So the product that you mentioned it's called Neutrodyne Fruits and Greens. What makes this formula, and really all of our formulas, so to step back just a second on quality, so that you have the confidence. So anybody that's visiting your site, visiting the gym, can have complete confidence. Each ingredient and every formula that we have, each and every formula, is third-party assayed or tested. So we work with the best of manufacturers to get the purest of formulas, but before we do anything with an ingredient when it comes into our manufacturing facility, we put it in quarantine and it's held, and then we have an outside company come in and test it, right? So you don't have any worry inside if someone's going, oh, that's good enough. We wait for that test to come back before we actually go through the blending process, tablets, powders, whatever it is. And so we go through that process on every ingredient, on every single lot, and we do all these tests, including after the batch is done, to make sure that it meets label claim. And that includes with fruits and greens, right? There's over 50 ingredients in it, and there's lots of different fruits and vegetables in it, but we want to make sure that it's clean, right? It didn't come out of a field right next to a power plant or a chemical facility. We actually visit each of the facilities where a lot of these ingredients are coming from. So it's actually quite interesting. So when it comes to fruits and greens, is this one example of that. 10 different flavors, 50 different fruits and vegetables, basically a combination of fruits and vegetables that supply you basically 20 plus servings of fruits and vegetables per scoop. And so the scoop is not very large. No added sugar, a little bit of stevia or monk fruit. So again, those are, you know, kind of natural sweeteners. But then it's just using a combination where we really work hard with our natural flavoring chemists to kind of get that right combo so it actually tastes good. There's no doubt lots of products on the market, excuse me, but some of them taste awful. Some of them taste like you're chewing on the grass in your backyard. Yeah. And that might be fine, it might be healthy, but you're not going to do it for any length of time. What's unique about the fruits and greens is, again, you have 50 different fruits and vegetable combination of those, and which supplies 20 plus servings of fruits and vegetables. So it's whole extracts that will be in each and every scoop. And again, 10 different flavors with all of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the the flavoring is key because we have a tough time with compliance as far as greens because, you know, some people are so indifferent you know, on the taste. Now, while we're on immunity, because I just think it's so important, you know, I'm thinking that another two supplements that are probably excellent to be taking right now is vitamin C and vitamin D3. What would you agree with that? And if you could touch on the specific products you guys have, because I know you guys have some different dosages, and I was just curious about those.
Yeah, without a doubt. So those are huge. And, you know, just kind of, I guess, for a second on fruits and greens, why, right? Why should you be taking it? Why is it so important? Right? Even if you like vegetables and you like fruit, it's hard to get enough in on a daily basis and enough of it. And, you know, maybe it's you love roasted cauliflower, broccoli, but sometimes that's your meal and that's it. So it's one item or two, you're not getting 10 and, you know, 15 different types of fruits and vegetables. So all of that, again, having your fruits and vegetables, as we've known for decades, will impact one's health just overall. So does that, the question I have from time to time, does that mean I shouldn't eat fruits and vegetables? That's not what we're saying. It's just, it's a bridge to a healthy diet. So continue to eat your fruits and vegetables, eat your salads, eat your whatever else that you got there, ideally organic. But fruits and greens is a fantastic kind of bridge to the healthy diet. It's easy and simple, tastes fantastic. But it also can be added to proteins. You have your whey protein, you have something you throw in a scoop, throw it into your smoothie, whatever. You can be used in many different ways. Add it to yogurt, mix it up, it tastes great. Mm-hmm. That's a fruits and greens. So those are real, you feel an energy boost, which is, again, great on those. As you get back to focus on immunity, vitamin D is really at the center of immunity. So when I think about immunity, you have a couple different things that are going on. You have your immune foundation. 70–80% of your immune cells essentially come from your gut. So if you have poor digestion, you have poor diet, that's going to impact those immune cells. So immediately that's going to have an impact on whether you're going to catch some other issue or disease, infection, virus, whatever it might be. So when I look at immunity, it's kind of like, okay, let's look at it at a foundational level, okay? Let's improve gut function. If we have good digestion, good gut function, that's going to benefit our immune system. Now, if we want to do an immune boost, you know, something to really kind of push us forward, maybe someone in our family has a virus, a cold or something like that, or a workmate or somebody, or now with this whole virus issue that we're dealing with, you're looking for that boost. Well, D3 is so critical for our health at the very basics of the foundation of our cells that will allow our immune system to properly function. And so when you have D3, it's dealing with your adaptive and your innate immune system, right? So it's functioning on both. So one will adapt to your environment, whatever you're around. The other one's kind of your innate. This is your foundation. So D3 is very flexible. And so that's at a foundation. And vitamin C really is kind of that boost. It complements each other. Now, the interesting thing on vitamin D, we have to think about it's the sunshine vitamin. And it certainly is. We do absorb quite a bit of vitamin D through our eyes. And so if we have sunglasses on all the time, which again, we see the benefit of that too, sometimes that can have a limitation. Now, I'm in Minnesota, similar climate to you guys. And so for 3-6 months during winter, we have reduced access and exposure to the sun. So D3, vitamin D3 supplementation is critical. But here's what's really interesting. Some of the top functional nutrition docs out there will test all of their patients in the winter and the summer to test their vitamin D levels. And for the most part, there is almost very few that actually have ideal vitamin D levels, summer or winter. And so vitamin D really needs to be one of those daily supplements that you add in. Now, you had mentioned about the different dosing of vitamin D. The RDA shows that at 400 IUs, which is ridiculously low. That will do next to nothing for you. It is ridiculously low. And that RDA number is based on like 1940s. Most practitioners will recommend vitamin D3 at 5,000 IUs. That's kind of the standard. We have 2,000, we have 5,000, we have 10,000. And we have with K2, vitamin K2. K2 helps with absorption, but it helps to fight against calcification of the arteries. So vitamin D should have it. Why would someone take 10,000 IUs? Well, in that case, it's usually going to be someone who's truly deficient, and then they're going to boost their number. So they might do vitamin D 10,000 for a week, a month, something like that, and test their levels. But the average person should be on vitamin D 5,000. That's kind of that's the norm that people should be on. So that's foundation. Then you bump onto vitamin C. Vitamin C is hugely important because it supports at the cellular level that immune system. So vitamin C is truly a boost. That's going to really give you that bump. You don't need vitamin C every day. If you're feeling fine, you're feeling healthy, everything's good. You really don't need vitamin C other than getting through foods and fruits and things like that. However, if your immune system is challenged, vitamin C is going to be very important. And one should take at least 500 milligrams, maybe even 1,000 or 1 gram of vitamin C. And you want to be taking that regularly, especially if you find yourself in a compromised condition. You want to take it, or maybe you're around enough people that that's going to be a problem.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that all my coaches that decide to come back should probably be doing some higher dose vitamin C. I know for myself, I mean, my stress and recovery levels are nuts right now. A lot of my coaches wear these things called whoops, and they track our recovery, and they give us when we're good to go, which is green, when we're in the dump, which is red, and when we're pretty close to the dump, which is yellow. I have not had a green day in the last 20 days. So I need to be even more aware of my immune system now, especially with the stress of creating yet another business that we can roll out. So it's been very stressful, and I'll be going shopping right after this and picking up some stuff. The other thing is, I saw you guys have a immunity supplement also. Is that just a combination of everything, or does that have other things in it that will help us?
Right. So there's a couple. What we call our foundation nutrition that we suggest that everybody's on all the time. We call it our Fab 5. And within that Fab 5 is our fruits and greens, vitamin D, probiotic, fish oil, and a high quality multivitamin. So you're getting kind of this foundation nutrition. When you bump it up to immunity, you're taking it again kind of to that next level. you're going to go into that vitamin C that's going to boost your immune system. But we also have other immune boosting formulas, in particular a formula called immune support. Mm-hmm. But of course, we're on back order right now for another week or so because all of this going on, it just, our shelves are bare on certain things. But that is a synergistic formula where you are including a whole variety of different immune boosting nutrients, including mushroom extract, to vitamin C, to zinc as well. Zinc is super important for immune health as well. So those are important to do so. The other interesting thing is that sometimes you have those with autoimmune diseases, and sometimes you're concerned about overstimulation of the immune cells. And so there's kind of it's a delicate balance in that. Vitamin D, especially most people that have autoimmune diseases or conditions are almost in all cases deficient in vitamin D. And usually in that scenario, there's something that's going on in their system. It's a molecule called CV31, which doesn't allow the cells to absorb vitamin D like normal. So it's even more important that they continue to take a higher dose of vitamin C to make up that deficiency. But it also applies to, so again, especially those that have a compromised immune system, but even further. So immune formulas, those with autoimmune conditions, is a certain immune PRP Pro. Again, beta-glucan is really a foundational immune kind of support without overly stimulating the immune system. So you're kind of working at the foundation level and supporting it instead of just overstimulating it from the top. Mm-hmm. So that's a great formula. So there's a whole variety of things. Again, vitamin D, vitamin C, immune support, zinc. In addition of zinc is also important. Zinc is one of those, it makes, it really supports the suggestion of taking a high quality multivitamin every day. Zinc is not something that stays in our cells in our body. It is only something that's sourced through our diet. And zinc is just absolutely critical for immune health. So high quality multivitamin with zinc on a daily basis will support that. Otherwise, again, it's just lacking. So again, important for immune health.
Yeah, I know. Personally, I've been taking the Men's Essential, which is a product that you guys have that I absolutely love. Because it's a one-stop shop for a lot of stuff, especially I'm gonna be turning 40 this year. Yeah. So yeah. I found it something that is in my in my arsenal, and it definitely helps me. You know what I didn't mention to you, and I apologize if you're not ready to talk, which I'm sure you are ready to talk about this, but I wanted to talk about a certain feature that your company offers that I think is fantastic, and that's the My Origin. And I apologize for not putting that in our pre-notes because I, for one, find that as another layer available to myself, Adrian, and Janice, as far as recommending our clients get that so we could dive a little bit deeper into different nutritional protocols and supplementation protocols that they may need. Could you talk a little bit about My Origin and different panels you can get and why they would be helpful for our nutrition clients that are listening and that are going to listen to this?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the interesting things, My Origin, again, it's a DNA test focused toward health, right? Unlike other DNA tests that just kind of tell you, this is what's going on. What this test does is that, again, the SNPs and the traits that have been identified on these different panels are specific to certain conditions or focuses. I'll give you an example, such as hormones, right? One of the hormone panels might focus a little bit more heavily on endometriosis, PCOS, I'm just trying to think some of the other kind of conditions that might be within that one, from detox to sports performance to weight loss to cardiovascular health. And basically what this is that our team in this scientific researchers that we partnered with on this product is that reviewed over 11,000 different peer-reviewed articles showing that there's certain traits and SNPs within our DNA that have, certain tendencies. And based on that, we've created these panels that will help you to identify if there's an area that might be deficient or might be lacking in some way. So this DNA test, basically someone orders it, a kit gets sent to your house, you do a mouth swab, it has a return thing, you send it on back, and then you receive the results. The cool thing about the DNA test is that I'll give you an example, personal experience. A family member of mine through marriage has been challenged trying to lose weight for a long time and got on to doing keto. And so was doing keto religiously, following it, tracking it perfectly for a couple months and hadn't lost any weight. Doing all the high quality fats, the avocados, and doing everything. Again, just following it to a T. And at around probably 7-8 weeks into it, again, a little frustrated, a little discouraged, we did all these tests on all of ourselves, as we were rolling this out. Well, the interesting thing is on his report, one of the things that I highlighted is that based on his DNA, his body does not naturally process fats very well. He didn't know that. He had no idea that that was an issue. So now he's on a keto diet, followed a diet, and he's eating all these high quality fats, and to find out his body just doesn't process fats. And so that helps to appreciate and highlight that, all right, keto's not for him. Maybe it's another type of program to follow that's going to be more in line with his DNA. But there's other things that it shows as well. It can highlight whether we are, deficient in B vitamins. It is really staggering what the information will show, whether you process caffeine slowly, quickly, dairy, to whatever it might be. So it is another tool to take someone's health to another level, or maybe even for those ones that have been a little frustrated that they're not seeing the results that they're hoping for. And I think we all can appreciate that kind of the mental anguish that goes with that. And someone who's really earnestly trying hard and they're a little frustrated.
Oh, yeah.
So we're seeing that. The other cool thing is we're adding a few more panels here shortly within weeks that will be on epigenetics. So DNA doesn't change a whole lot. So it's great to understand where kind of that baseline is. Then epigenetics is kind of the more what you've experienced over the last number of months. So that's a cool way of being able to track progress too.
Wow, that's really cool. So I know you have a bunch. So how many individual panels do you guys offer that are available? Is there 10? Is there 15? And what do you suggest as kind of like the baseline? Like, we're all nutrition coaches here, and I would love to just, as a standard, hey, we're going to get My Origin, and I want you to get X, Y, and Z panels because it's going to help us do X.
That's a great question. I can send you that list. There's probably 12 to 13, 14 different panels. Again, from sports performance to, again, cardiovascular and others. I can send you that list. So again, all those listening can look at that list as well. What happens, I just happen to have a kit. This is the kit that you receive in the mail. And so that's My Origin. And again, all the instructions of what to do, kind of similar to like a 23andMe kind of a kit. So someone's done one of these. But that's kind of what this one's based on. And I can send you a list of all those different things. The cool thing is the first test, the first swab, there's actually a charge for the lab fee, basically, to analyze all that. But each additional test is only $35. So let's say if somebody does this and they do 1 or 2 panels, and then they want to revisit it 2 months or 6 months later, they don't need to re-swab. We can reanalyze from the initial sample and kind of build out. So most people will choose 1, 2, 3 different panels and see those results on it.
That's excellent. How long does the sample last for? How long can you touch that up? 2 years?
2 years.
Oh, that's excellent. That's great.
It is, yeah, and it's completely secure, no issues, nothing shared with government or whatever. But it does have, we keep that sample, basically it's like an algorithm is saved. And so you just can go back and apply that toward now other panels when it's run, which is great. Now those epigenetic panels that will be added, those you'll need another swab because you're looking at a shorter time frame. DNA again doesn't change a whole lot, or epigenetics can. So anyway, so just one.
Yeah, no, I think that's an awesome tool to refer people to. Adrian and Janice, I'm doing what I normally do and just keep on going. Did you guys want to interject? If you have any questions or thoughts, I apologize. You want me to just keep on going? Is this good? You give me a thumbs up. Adrian, you good? Okay, you enjoying the show? All right, that's all I care about. You guys are enjoying the show. All right. So another question that I think it will definitely resonate with Janice and Adrian a little bit because they deal with so much of this. But let's start talking about women's health and kind of the things that you guys have and the protocols and prescriptions that you guys are giving out to kind of get someone back so we can have some nutritional intervention and it actually work. because we feel, and we've had 2 women's nutrition talks, and we've all agreed that women have a tough time. You know, they really do. Men have it easy. And what can we do specifically for women when we're talking about some nutritional, supplementation?
Well, I think that, especially I agree with you wholeheartedly. Yes, guys have it quite easy. I think when you're looking at all health, including women's health, as an example, right? It's balance, right? We want balance in all aspects of our life. We want to be balanced in our diet. We want to be balanced in nothing extreme, right? Nothing extreme with our diet, nothing extreme in our lifestyle. Try to avoid extreme stress, even exercise, right? You don't want to be too extreme in your workouts. You need to have that balance. Well, that also applies to supplementation too. There's just too many factors that can impact all of us, right? Just life, kids, family, whatever it might be. Virus going around, shutting down businesses, all these things that are going on. And at the same time, maybe we just have some nutritional deficiencies, and maybe we have some kind of nutrient deficiencies as well. Some of those are just kind of hereditary, but other ones are maybe, self-inflicted a little bit. So when I go back to the word of balance, that's going to be absolutely critical. There's so many things that go through our bodies that impact our hormones that back to balance. So when I go back to the high quality multivitamin, which includes magnesium and other types of nutrients, B vitamins, whole complete list of methylated B vitamins, those are especially impactful. So by having balanced nutrition to begin with, just a solid foundation, that's going to help most people kind of get through some of the simpler kinds of concerns a little bit, and will aid them when challenged even greater. That being said, beyond that, there's a lot of things that impact hormones, birth control, xenoestrogens, maybe from plasticizers, BPA, chemicals, maybe somebody's job, right? Maybe someone's a painter, whatever it might be. All of those things kind of build up in the system. And then you have this cascading effect that comes down from these different hormones, right? From estrogen, progesterone, to testosterone. If there's a kink in that line, it's pulled up, there's an imbalance that goes on. And as we know with women from just going through just their monthly cycles, but then even, moving on to perimenopause and menopause, there's always this constant fluctuation between progesterone and estrogen. It's constantly in flux. Some it's minor, that impact. Other ones it's going to be more of a major impact. So when we go back down to having balance, is how can we constantly keep that flow of hormones and constant flow of nutrients rolling through our body, right? And so it provides that balance. Usually, and you probably hear this transitioning to guys a little bit, you may have a man that complains of low testosterone. In most cases, it's because testosterone is being held down by estrogen. So how do you flush up that estrogen to allow that testosterone to naturally rise? That applies to women too, right? Sometimes estrogens can become so great from whatever birth control, whatever it might be, it can become so great that it just throws everything, off. And so you need to have balance. So when you have that balance, there are certain formulas that we have. I would say the 2 most popular formulas, I'd say more popular and I'd say general in a way, is one formula called dynamic hormone balance. Dynamic hormone balance is a powder, 2 different flavors, spiced chai and a caramel macchiato. Caramel macchiato is fantastic. The nutrients, when you look into that formula, they're high. There's a high degree based on scientific research to make some impact. Everything from DIM to isoflavones to milk thistle. And what these do, provide that balance. And so there's a doctor we've worked with for many years that says, talking about hormones, says whether you make them or you take them, you have to get rid of them every day. So whether your body's just making hormones or you're taking an external form of a hormone, you still need to flush that out of the body, and you need to bring that balance. So that formula, as well as a capsule version of that, the powder is more potent, the capsule is a little bit less, but still very effective. It's called Estro Balance. And Estro Balance is fantastic. So that will assist in that flushing and that clearance of hormones, estrogens, just allows for that fluctuation. And the interesting thing is on that dynamic hormone balance, that is equally as impactful for men as it is for women. So keep that in mind. So for the men that are talking about low T and having some other imbalances, that might be a great place to start. For women especially, a serving or 2 a day for 4, 6, 8 weeks. If you can ideally go through 2, maybe 3 cycles, menstrual cycles, even better. Most will see a clearance or an improvement within no time at all. Again, it tastes great. It's easy to shake up into a bottle. So that's kind of basic foundational support for women: dynamic hormone balance, estro balance, nutrients, just to have a balanced hormones. And then we have other formulas that complement it, whether it's a calcium glucarate that helps to flush out toxins, and some of these other ones as well. But I think that's a great one, as well as that foundation nutrition. You mentioned the Everyday Essentials men's. We have Everyday Essentials women's, Everyday Essentials women's prime, Everyday Essentials pregnancy. So again, critical, specific nutrients for those types of concerns.
Yeah, that's great information. And it's interesting to hear that supplement can be used in both males and females. I love that. Janice, did you have any specific questions regarding women's nutrition? Did we want to get into PCOS?
I would love to get into PCOS if Josh has some help there. I did have one question about one of the supplements that you have, and it's the Testro Balance. Mm-hmm. Now, that's leading into the PCOS, so someone who has that higher levels of testosterone, the Testro Balance, is that for men and for women? And then what other supplements would you say that Nutridyn offers that would be a recommendation, or you've seen there's been good support behind for somebody who does not want to go on medication for PCOS but wants to find a balance with their diet?
Yeah, I love it. Great questions. So just kind of starting to begin with Testro Balance. And so Testro Balance, as we had estro balance, and we have Testro Balance, and so it's more focused towards men's health. It's less focused on lowering testosterone. I will say that it will help with increasing testosterone, but it kind of functions in the same way as a dynamic hormone balance, where it's providing that clearance and that nutritional balance. So if someone truly has hormone imbalance, they're really suffering, really kind of going through something, that's where the dynamic hormone balance comes into place. It's much more broad spectrum. And again, the ingredients, we can pack a lot into a powder, and keep in mind, this one tastes really, really awesome, but a lot of these nutrients taste terrible. So to try to get the right flavor in this one, I think you would be really happy with it. Provides the best balance. So if I were to kind of put it at a level, I start with dynamic hormone balance, men and women, then I'll drop down from there to either estro balance or Testro Balance. So for men or for women, I'd go in either direction. Could a woman take Testro Balance? Sure. Could a man take estro balance? Sure. But generally, Testro is going to be for men, a little bit additional support for testosterone. Estro Balance is a little bit more for estrogen, but that's kind of where that balance is. The other question, when you come to, if I recall right, just going to PCOS. PCOS is a very, more and more research has shown more and more clarity on what is affecting PCOS. A lot of times it's two things. It's hormone imbalance, but it's also blood sugar related too. Oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes, if someone is struggling, maybe they're a pre-diabetic diabetic, maybe they have weight concerns because maybe a contributing factor is the sugar imbalances, then that's usually one of the things. First things that you're going to do, you're going to clean up their diet, you're going to get them to lose some weight, you're going to balance their blood sugar levels, and the PCOS in most cases is going to go away. So much of it is lifestyle induced, not all, but much of the time it certainly can be the case. And so then in that case, you are looking at really the dynamic hormone balance is certainly going to come into place, but then there's also blood sugar that needs to be addressed. Two formulas, one of my favorites, absolute favorites, is called Gluco-IR, glucose insulin resistance. So that's what the name stands for. So gluco-IR, oh, I happen to have one right here. It's really interesting because all the ingredients help with blood sugar balance and regulation. One of the things, not to go off into blood sugar here, is that you have insulin receptors like little antennas. And what happens if you're absorbing, taking in too much sugar, too much whatever it might be in your diet, it wears down the sensitivities of that insulin reception. So it wears down those little receptors, and then they can't tell anymore what's happening. And then you need to take in more for the body to kind of get that sugar, craving satisfied. And so people end up kind of continue to take, so those insulin receptors are less, and then usually people have to veer toward insulin or something like that to kind of allow the body to kind of, reestablish that sensitivity. But that's not the natural way of handling it. So the gluco-IR provides nutrients to not only balance blood sugars and help with sugar cravings, but it also helps with insulin reception. So those antennas regrow, which is cool, and they become sensitive again, and then the body can handle that more readily and would not need an outside source such as insulin. So coming back to PCOS, and I'm kind of overly simplifying it, it's usually a two-pronged approach. Let's deal with blood sugar and providing that balance, and let's also focus on hormones as well. And let's try to provide that clearance, and usually in most cases that's enough. I have a nice protocol that shows kind of the steps, what to take and what are some of the other nutrients to be considerate or to take into consideration if additional support is needed.
Was that something that you could possibly, email to Matt? I would love that. I've looked a lot into different kind of supplements with ALA, chromium, and some combinations of things as well. And it's not in our scope to prescribe by any means any supplements. And we definitely go with the whole foods and the nutrients first, work on the whole balance of the diet. But we want to be able to have recommendations if it comes to a client who isn't comfortable with their medical doctor's prescription of taking a shot every day versus possibly doing something naturally. So any information that you could provide us would be super helpful for us to be able to work through. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to do that. And this information that will be sent to you, kind of this protocol will also list all the research that that information was taken from, right? It's not just like, this is all the PubMed research, legit science behind it, that you will be able to see that and make those recommendations.
That's awesome.
What you're going to find with the person that's going to see you that's maybe on shots or whatever it might be, what they're going to do with now making adjustments to their diet and to their lifestyle, they're going to make improvements, right? And then they're going to go back to their doctor and say, can I reduce? What can I do to reduce my reliance on metformin? What can I do on this and this across the board to kind of slowly kind of pull away? And then they're going to have great success.
Right. Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's awesome. And we could probably put that together as a custom combo package on our website, Janice.
And one other thing I just want to mention is because I brought up metformin. One of the ingredients in this gluco-IR is berberine. So berberine,
I've read so much about berberine with ALA, like a combination. And I didn't see that by itself on the site. So that's why I didn't actually specifically bring that up to you, but I didn't look at the label of that product yet. So that's great.
Yeah. So we have we have just a straight berberine, 500 milligrams. And then we have this formula, which is kind of synergistic. It's much more, I guess, complete. What's interesting about berberine is that it's been for years, but even more recent, JAMA reports, and again, legitimately scientifically researched ingredients, that 500 milligrams of berberine has been found to be as effective as metformin over a long period of time. So now,
I've been reading some studies like the last 48 hours specifically on that supplement.
Yeah, it double-blinded placebo studies, whatever. So this is where it's at. Just a lot of doctors aren't aware of that. So again, you have tools to be able to influence it. I come back down to balance, right? Let's start balance. Let's adjust lifestyles. Let's get foundation nutrition, and let's tweak it. Let's add a little of this. Let's improve gut function. Let's maybe improve blood sugar balance just a little bit, and you can start moving that needle to the point where people are feeling fantastic.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
So I wanted to squeeze in one more item, and this was all selfishness. So I apologize, and I rack Adrian's brain about this. I asked her a while ago, but you know, I find myself some people are busier than ever during this time period, and I'm one of them that I've never worked so much in my life. And I had started looking at a while ago to nootropics because I kind of want to lower my caffeine dosage, but I still wanted the mental acuity. And I was wondering what your thoughts were on nootropics and kind of what you guys had, because I think that's the most common thing that people look to nootropics for, is for that mental acuity, focus, cognition. And I just wanted to hear your thoughts on it.
Well, it's huge. And I'm going to couple all this. I'll put this in the stress bucket, right? So stress, you're busy. Again, whether you're good busy or bad busy, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe you're busy and things are thriving and doing well, but you're still busy. Maybe you're busy trying to fill out your government forms to try to get some type of compensation. I'll put all this into the stress bucket. Stress is a massive, massive factor in most lives, right? And acknowledging that is not I guess, an indication of weakness. It's just stress impacts our body. And so we need to be able to make some adjustments with that. We have a fantastic stress assessment, stress questionnaire. Well, basically anybody that wants to, you fill out this form and you highlight the different things that you're experiencing. And based on that questionnaire actually will tell you which is the best formula for you, because everyone handles stress differently, right? Some are stressed and they feel wired. They're all wired. Others are stressed and they feel tired. Whatever it might be, depending on the person, you need to find the right adaptogen to try to help with that. So we have that questionnaire. Again, happy to pass that on to you. But there's other types of formulas that we have that can be supportive of that. Now, when we talk about stress, we talked about adaptogens. Adaptogens such as ashwagandha, Asian ginseng, relora, L-theanine. You can get into some of these adaptogens. And the value of these is that they adapt and balance within your system. So if there's a deficiency, these help kind of raise it up to a point that's at that kind of normal level. And so we have a variety of these different, we'll call them adaptogens, that affect somebody who is maybe that you're worn out. Adrenals are kind of fatigued a bit. Or maybe it's going to be someone is just super anxious, right? And they need that thing to kind of bring them down. Or for somebody that's, again, just feeling a little bit tired and they need that boost. And so we have a variety of different formulas. Everything, it's within our Stress Essentials kind of family line of supplements of stress formulas. Stress Essentials Balance, that provides that adrenal kind of, that's one of our more popular stress formulas because it's, I'm not gonna say it's the most broad, but provides the best balance to overall stress levels. The next formula is Stress Essentials Relax. And Stress Essentials Relax is, again, it's that anxiousness, it's that anxiety. It can even impact depression as well. For those ones that are feeling it, it just provides, again, those nutrients to really kind of bring that down. Includes taurine. Taurine is used very effectively for those that are depressed. And again, also can also impact those with focus. So there's a few different formulas that, again, can have great impact on stress. Cortisol is another one. Cortisol has basically most cells in our body have a cortisol receptor. It comes from our HPA axis in our brain and it goes down and our adrenals will kick out and try to balance. But if our adrenals are stressed or, deficient, it keeps on kicking out cortisol, and you have people that for some can lead to weight gains, especially in the midsection. Just other types of blood sugar imbalances. Cortisol can do all kinds of kind of wacky things in our body. So providing balance, we have a formula called Cortisol Pro, helps to reduce cortisol levels. So that's where it's fantastic. Now you want to take it a step further where maybe you just want to focus on the brain. There's a formula that we absolutely love. Our Chief Science Officer, Dr. Rick Mayfield, really focuses on brain detoxification. It's a formula called Dynamic Brain Restore. Dynamic Brain Restore, and there's a capsule version just called Brain Restore. The Dynamic Brain Restore, the powder, it's a tiny little scoop. It's like orange cream, I think it's flavor. It tastes really, really good. But it has all the nutrients for focus, for cognition. And one of the ingredients that it has in it actually helps with bringing those receptors in the back of our brain so that they fire, right? So when you have that neuro focus, and sometimes you might find yourself grasping for words and you're just I'm exhausted, and it's like words aren't coming to the tip of your tongue. You have this alpha GPC, which is in that formula that helps with that quick neuronal communication, and it's fantastic. You've had it for a number of years, and people absolutely love it. I take those times, it's like, man, I just feel I'm lagging a little bit. Take some of the brain restore, oh, I feel so good. And so it's appropriate for older ones, younger ones. It's really a great formula.
Oh, that's awesome. That's that's good information to know. And Josh, like I said at the beginning of the call, we'd be on for 60 minutes and it'd feel like 20. And that's kind of where we're at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you that I'm definitely going to reach out to you again, and we're going to do this again because I think our listeners like to be informed. They love information, especially on what they should be taking. And this was a great learning experience for myself. I think Adrian and Janice could agree. I've learned a ton since the beginning of the call. I wanted to thank you so much for taking out the time to do this for us. I really, really do appreciate it. I think it's incredibly valuable. And this is a big reason why we'll stay with Nutridyn for the rest of our business life, which is hopefully forever. So again, Josh, thank you so much. And I'll be looking forward to those emails so we can get that information out. And I know any questions that we have, we can always reach out to you because you're a wealth of knowledge there. So I appreciate it.
Yes, so, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. And obviously we discussed a lot of different things today. Mm-hmm. So we can definitely narrow it down a little bit in the future. And as you know, we have some rather impactful sports formulas as well. Mm-hmm. And so lots of things to talk about. So thank you for having me. Any questions, you let me know.
All right. Thank you so much. So until next week, I'll see you guys later. All right. Take it easy. Thanks so much.
Take care.
All right. See you guys.